Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. Today's episode, we're unboxing a crate from Dynamic Corvettes. We have some floor parts, transmission tunnel, and a brand new press molded front end behind me that's going to be for the split window. So be sure to stick around. We just got a fresh shipment in from Dynamic Corvettes. And as always, they make a really nice box. This time we have a nice window so we can see what we got. We have our 63 front end up here for our split window. What else do we got down here? There's some of the side gills. And then there's a rear floor for our 65 Roadster. And then over here is a custom tunnel that we're gonna put in Overkill, the 67 Corvette, which now lives right over there. You can just barely see the wheels in the window in the garage over there. So let's get this crate opened up. So it took me a minute to get all this stuff out, but we have it laid out. So here is their blonde front end that they just started making. This is a press molded front end. So if you look at the gills, you can see this is a really nice smooth finish on both sides. So this was made from, I believe, 2 fiberglass molds, one on each side. So that gives you the really nice smooth finish that's like perfectly flat. Really nice stuff. So that is what's on the top of this. This has a really nice smooth surface finish. And that last front end we had was too short around the door area. And you can see they have this nice hard line to tell them where they need to trim, and they leave you a little bit more just in case you need it. And then around this area they leave you a little bit extra. We'll have to cut some of that off, including the wiper area. That'll have to be trimmed off, but I would much rather them leave all this stuff on here and we can trim it rather than us having to add or get a new front end. But this is a really nice smooth piece. This line around here, this hood lip, all looks really nice and sharp. And it has bonding strips put in it. It's not a one-piece front end. This is like how they would have done it originally, where you have your nice seam. This is like a nice fat seam, like what they would have done originally. That's like the right width. You can see the parking light panel. This is one individual panel. This lower part is an individual panel. This little lower valance is individual, and there's bonding strips in between all of those. So everything's a nice finish. This all looks really good. And if we tilt this up, you can use the advantage of gravity in this situation. You can see these are the bonding strips, and then these aren't going to be as smooth as the other side of this, just because of the way that they make them. They're still really nice and smooth, but they're not perfectly smooth like the other side. A little bit of tape there. But you can see this one is really nice. You can even still see a part number from where they cast it off of a GM one. So this one, that's a really nice part. Really nice part. All these little tabs here for the grill are in nice condition. Sometimes you get front ends and they're all screwed up. They use stainless rivets to rivet this steel cross member to the fiberglass bonding strip so you don't get any corrosion. What'll happen if you use aluminum like they did originally against the steel, those two don't like each other, they corrode, and it pops whenever anything rusts, it expands. So you could possibly see anywhere where there's a rivet, a little bump way down the road, but they use stainless rivets so you won't have that problem anywhere. Now this is made with their vacuum infused process. I believe that 63 top we put on the Tribute Split was made in the same process. So you can see it's very smooth. I can touch it without getting cut. There are some raised fibers. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. It's not perfectly smooth because they put this in a bag on one mold, and you can see, I believe here, or where some of the ports were, is what I'm guessing. This could have been where some of the ports were, where they were pulling the vacuum. But it's a nice part. The nice thing about that is it really packs in and makes it dense between the fiberglass and the resin. It makes it nice and dense, doesn't leave you with a bunch of extra resin, and it makes these edges nice and tight, where a hand laid part, it might not be as smooth. Well, the new Dadillac V it keeps it nice and dense, where a hand laid part in these areas, it may potentially be really thick, or it might have voids. That thing's a 6-speed too, believe it or not. Anyways, so this is a really nice part. They use their adhesive that we used a couple videos ago to glue these together, and it's a nice quality adhesive. And if we just show you real quick, I have a piece laying over here. This is off that other front end, but this is your typical hand laid part. You can feel each individual piece of fiberglass, and this would just be like something you could do at home. You'd put a gel coat on one side, you'd hand lay it on the other, so it's smooth on one, really rough on the other side. Where this one, it's kind of a hybrid between it, more to the press molded, but it's not as silky smooth as those. Overall, very nice part. And then we have our monstrous tunnel here. That'll be for overkill, because I believe it has a late model Camaro Z01 drivetrain, engine and transmission. And then here's the rear floor that you've seen me put in a couple cars. That's for the 65 convertible. So now the front end inside, this is a really nice part. Definitely would recommend this front end. It's a well engineered, well thought out part that should be very strong. And I carried it in myself just by the cross member and supporting the back. It's actually very light. Now mind you, it doesn't have the inner fenders glued in or the side fenders, but it's actually very manageable, and it could actually be lighter than an original one. I can't fully guarantee that. Another advantage I didn't point out, that they make their side gills separately and in a double fiberglass mold, is that these are basically perfectly smooth. So whenever you look in the inner fenders of your car, you look under the hood, you do see these gills. So that gives you a really nice finish over some of the hand-laid ones that are really rough and textured. Depending on the brand, they can be better or worse. Now I have their custom inner fenders just sitting in here. These are generic for any chassis. You can cut out whatever hole you need to for your control arms here. These are smooth. They have a little less detail on them than the original ones. And they have this step here for a closeout panel that goes to the firewall. Both of them are designed with that. So this will give it a nice smooth look. This is mainly for like a Restomod. You wouldn't want this for an NCRS car, this type of inner fender. But for what this 63 is going to be, it's perfect. So to finish out this video, since I kind of went over this, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these in. Now most other front ends you buy that are a press molded, jig assembled front end come with these already installed. They glue at the front, along here, and across the top. They glue along this hood ledge right here. There's this little spot here that glues to the back of here, and they glue across the back. Now, the important part about that is you need to have it in a jig, and you need to make sure that this has the right contour to fit your hood. Because if you clamp it too tight, this could be flatter than the curve of your hood, and vice versa. So Dynamic, they make all their own hoods, they make all their own front ends, they make their inner fenders, but they still ship them loose. You can put them together and you can get your fit perfect, just for the off chance that your hood's a little different or your fender's a little different, whatever. So it gives you some flexibility. So to continue with that, we're not just going to solidly glue them in. We're just going to glue them in at the front. So just along the bottom and along this edge. We still have to scuff the whole part to prep it, to give it a biting surface. We're going to scuff it with 36 grit, but we at least just are going to glue it in the front, leave these flopping, then we'll get the front end glued on the car, and then we can get the hood installed and work on our gap and get that refined. So we have that perfect finish. That's how Dynamic kind of wants you to do it, and that's the way that I have now adopted. So we're going to go ahead and get all this stuff scuffed up. So I got the inner fenders glued in, and I used my favorite glue of choice, 3M 08115, in the tube form. It lasts for 90 minutes, clamp for 4 hours, cures totally in 24, and I put it in my no-name gun that I modified. Works pretty good. So we just glued this portion the whole way along here up to there. That's it. We have room for this. I'm not going to move it, but this whole inner fender will still be able to be flexed. I left this unglued just in case we have an issue with the bottom of the hood down here where we need to flex the front end a little bit with the strut rods that go from the headlight area down to the core support. If this is glued, that could be a problem. So we're going to leave it all like this until we can do a full mock-up on the car and really get it dialed in. But it looks really nice. I'm happy with the way that turned out. I just put them in place, smack them a few times, and put a clamp on them at the bottom just to keep this at a decent gap. But it all looks good. So we're gonna let this guy cure up. Now, next week, we're not gonna install this front end. We're just gonna set it aside. But I wanna work on this 65 Roadster. You can see we're missing a floor, and I still haven't finished up the birdcage stuff. We have to finish up the birdcage stuff and get the firewall, which is right here. We have to get this thing moving along. We have some work to do to fix the plenums on both sides and fix some holes and stuff in it. We're gonna put a smooth firewall on it, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but we still need to do some repair work. And I'd like to get that in the car with the rockers and stuff, get all that stuff fiberglassed in, and then we can start working on this rear floor situation and figuring out how big of a wheel and tire we can fit under the back of this thing with these wheel tubs. So I have to do some research, maybe some measuring, and figure out how big we can go to figure out what exactly quarter panel we want to run on this thing. Overall, this is a really nice front end. I highly recommend it. Now, is it 100% original? Is it going to pass NCRS judging? I'm not sure. I can't answer that. I'm not an NCRS judge. You'd have to read the book. Is it really smooth? Yes. Is it a little more wavy than like this press molded panel that is smooth on both sides? I mean, this has some texture in it. You can feel the grain a little bit. There's a couple little waves in it. You can feel the grain for sure. So that is similar. This has a similar grain. It's a little bit more wavy just because the way the vacuum bag sucks on it rather than it just being a big piece of tool steel that presses it. So if you went at this with like a block and you just sanded the underside of it real quick, honestly, I bet it would probably pass that test. Plus, most people, whenever they look at a Corvette, they just reach under the front end and feel for this bonding strip. And if they feel it, they say, yep, it's an original front end. They don't reach further to feel the texture. This will get like an undercoating anyways to protect the paint from rock chips. So honestly, you could possibly pass this off if it had press molded inner fenders, because the parking light panels are pretty darn smooth. That's the one you can see. And then this guy, this is press molded and it's super smooth on the back side. So actually this piece is one of the few ones you can see the inside of. Typically, if you look in the hood of a car, and you can see this is all humpy and bumpy. It's a hand-laid front end. But they actually did this in a way by using the correct reinforcement. This is nice and smooth. Honestly, I think you could almost pass this off as NCRS minus these inner fenders. It has correct seams, it has correct bonding strips. It's all made from new old stock parts. All these, like this parking light panel, these bonding strips, the long bonding strips, the hood surround, were all retooled off of new old stock GM parts. So honestly, you probably could pass this off as NCRS if you went about it right and you cleaned it and you prepped it and you did everything correct. I think you could. Other than the rivets, if they look at the rivet heads, they might see that, and that might be the only thing that they ding you for if you do it right. So either way, I mean, these are a nice part. This is a nice part. The ACI hand-laid stuff is pretty nice. Not as nice as this. This is, in my opinion, far superior, but you get what you pay for. So I like this part. I think we'll do the rest of our review when we can actually set it on the car and start doing or trimming around here and getting it to fit. But I think this is a really nice part, and it's going to add some value to that car for sure. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps my channel, especially as we're coming up to Corvettes at Carlisle. It always helps to have that little extra boost before or after the show. We have a lot of stuff coming up. I'll have a video coming up on Corvettes at Carlisle here soon. It's going to be a little different than last year. Everything's going to be a little different than it was last year and the year before that. So we have some changes coming up. Some good, some maybe not as good for some people that are interested in the things that I bring to Carlisle, but it's still going to be a fun show, so I'll have a video coming out on Wednesday about that. And we have a lot of work to do on this. I have a party coming up that we're throwing at our house in a week or so, I don't know how much work on the Vette I'm going to be able to get done. We have a lot of house stuff to do, and eventually I'll have a house video to show you guys where we've left off, because we're crossing off a lot of things off the list. It's come a long way, which is why I haven't been making as much progress in here, which should hopefully change here towards the end of August here, right after or right before Carlisle. So probably after Carlisle, we'll get this front end on that 63 Corvette, and the 65 Roadster is going to be coming along nicely. So I got a lot of work to do, and I'll catch you guys later.